Welcome to the U.S. Defense Line channel. The evil plan of the Russian military experts has begun. The Russian army began a major operation. Ukraine gave Kremlin approval to change the course of the war with Russia. The recent failures of the Russian army on the eastern and southern fronts have left the Kremlin helpless. Now Russian experts have realized a diabolical plan. In this plan, all communication lines in Ukraine will be cut. Thus, the Ukrainian army will find it difficult to organize its operations. At the time, America had a very big problem in the Iraq War. American soldiers carried out the operations to be carried out by drawing on the ground. Neither navigation nor radio systems worked in Iraq. American soldiers planned an operation on the ground. As a result of these operations, there were huge losses and even unsuccessful operations. Of course, this was a big event on the world's agenda. The best army in the world suffered from miscommunication. Now, Russian experts have remembered this situation. According to experts, all electricity and communication lines in Ukraine will be destroyed. Kremlin authorized this operation. Experts appearing on Russian state television initially wanted to destroy Ukraine's internet access. Starlink satellites were the target in this. The 3131 Starlink satellite, currently in the atmosphere, was the target of the Russian army. According to the calculations of the experts, all of the satellites could be destroyed using more than 4,000 missiles. However, due to the cost of this situation, another plan emerged. Ukraine had to use electricity in order not to disrupt internet access. As you know, all electronic devices that provide internet access are powered by electricity. If these devices are left without electricity, they will become unusable. For this, Russian soldiers started to hit the electrical infrastructures in Ukraine. Ukrainian Air Force put up a massive defense to protect their electricity supplying infrastructure. In the operation launched to leave Ukraine without electricity, warplanes, cruise missiles and unmanned aerial vehicles used by Russian army were fired upon. The last target of the Russian army was the Kherson region. Air defense systems shot down the Su-25 fighter jet, 4 caliber cruise missiles, 6 unmanned aerial vehicles and Kh-101 cruise missiles in this region. Ukrainian air defense systems responded strongly to stop the air operation of the Russian army. However, in recent weeks, Russian army has tried to hit power plants throughout Ukraine. President Zelensky made statements after the attacks. According to the president's statement, it was announced that 30% of the power plants became unusable in the air attack carried out by Russia. Zelensky announced that there were power outages across the country for this reason. Ukraine's defense ministry also announced the launch of new attacks by Russian forces targeting energy facilities in the capital Kyiv and other major cities. The Russian army listened to its crazy experts. Thus began the evil plan. Initially, Kyiv Mayor Vitaly Klitschko announced that critical infrastructure targets had been hit. Then, with the power cuts, Ukrainians in many cities began to buy generators and gas stoves. A call was made to the public to save on energy consumption. The military also brought generators to critical bases. Russia has targeted many power plants in Ukraine with kamikaze drones. Western countries, especially the USA, argue that the drones were provided by Iran in violation of the United Nations sanctions. Iran denies this. He also denied the allegations that Iranian-made UAVs were used in the kamikaze attacks on Russia. Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov, who made statements to journalists, said that he had no knowledge of the weapons in question. According to Ukrainian authorities and local news sources, Shahed 136 model UAVs were used in attacks on power plants. Russia is doing everything to keep Ukraine completely in the dark without electricity. The Ukrainian army continues to use Starlink satellites to prevent internet access. SpaceX, founded by Elon Musk, produced Starlink satellites. Electronic kits were sent to Ukraine to provide internet access from these satellites. Ukrainians can easily connect to the internet with these kits. However, it is worth mentioning that these kits work with electricity. Already, the Russian army continues its long-running operation. Most recently, the Russian Navy struck a critical area for the Ukrainian government. Ukraine's space communication station in the Odessa region was hit. It is stated that the Ukrainian army may have difficulties in communication on the southern front. However, after these attacks, The Ukrainian army is advancing towards the city of Kherson on the southern front. Almost all Ukrainian tank units are on the southern front, and they're all heading towards the city of Kherson. Reclaiming this city is very important for Ukraine. The recapture of Kherson will bring the Kyiv government even closer to Crimea. Kherson is also mentioned as the key to Crimea. Since the Russian army knows this situation, it is trying to take precautions. There was also an event that shook the Moscow government. Riots broke out among the people of Kadyrov, Russia's greatest ally. In the middle of Russia, the Chechen people declared independence. Even the Chechen Republic of Ichkeria is trying to leave Russia. The Putin administration was shocked by this situation. Putin urgently summoned Kadyrov to the Kremlin. A great deal of tension is rising on Russian soil. The ties between the Chechens and the Russians were officially broken. It was quite surprising that Kadyrov did not know about this situation. In 1991, the Chechen Republic of Ichkeria in the northern Caucasus declared its independence. Russia annexed the territory known as Chechnya to its federation in 2000. Now the Chechen people have opposed this situation and declared independence. Russia has officially come face to face with its own ally. It is eagerly awaited how the Kremlin, which is currently experiencing internal turmoil, will find a solution. The Ukrainian parliament also recognized the independence of this region, which is a part of Russia. These statements revealed the new preparations of the Ukrainian Defense Ministry for the war. Due to the approaching winter months, the war may come to a standstill. Winter in Ukraine is quite harsh. Although the weather is manageable during the day, it is quite cold at night. Even in February, when the war first started, Russian soldiers had difficulties. Some local news sources said that Russian tanks looked like deep freezing machines. The tank crews abandoned the tanks and surrendered to the Ukrainian soldiers. In February, the Russian army was unable to provide logistical supplies for the winter and had to withdraw from the Kyiv region. The clothes of the Russian soldiers were also not suitable for the winter. The soldiers did not perform fully. Now the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine has started preparations for the coming winter. Germany, an ally of the Kyiv government, began to deliver winter uniforms and equipment. Military experts say that next winter, the one with the best equipment can win the war. It is also stated that Russia will open new fronts so that the war does not end in winter. Russia's closest ally in Europe is preparing a new offensive from Belarus towards Kyiv. The Putin administration began to gather troops in Belarus for a new offensive towards Kiev. The Russian leader is actually planning to rekindle the war, which he hasn't made any progress in recent months. Moscow and Minsk governments made an agreement to form a joint military unit. Russian soldiers reached the neighboring country the other day. Currently, 9,000 Russian soldiers have been brought to the border with Belarus, which is only 230 kilometers from Kyiv. Alexander Lukashenko, who governs the Eastern European country of Belarus, decided last week to form a joint military force with Putin amid alleged threats from NATO and Ukraine. Lukashenko's announcement that there will be 60,000 soldiers in the joint regional force was quite surprising. In fact, with the help of Lukashenko, Putin sought to reopen a front from the north. In response, it emerged that Ukrainian leader Vladimir Zelensky demanded the deployment of United Nations peacekeepers to the border. Peacekeepers may come to the region. We'll see what happens in the coming days. We have come to the end of another video. You can support us by liking the video. By subscribing, you can easily follow new videos. I wish you all happy days. See you.